All right. Well, we are back with another high stakes matchup. There are 4 games to go before we pull the top 2 players out of the main event for a best of 5 finals. And these 2 players doing everything they can to try to put themselves in that best of 5 finals. Josh Sokol is running away with the first spot, now 20-4, and all but clinching a spot in the finals. The second spot is very much up for grabs as Jackson Smiley has dropped 2 games in a row. So Jackson, 17-7, Kevin right at his heels at 16-8, and Joey Mallick, Carl Johnson, and Ian Weinstein are all at 15-9. Rafi Stern could also be up there at 15-9 if he's able to beat Ori Swift. That is one of the only results we don't have from the previous round just yet. This will be our final game before the lunch break today. Joey almost certainly needs a victory here to keep his chances alive. And Kevin, with a victory here, coupled with a Jackson loss this round, would actually propel himself likely into second place. So both of these players at this point still control their own destiny and really would love a victory in this round to get ahead.
Yeah, super pivotal moment in the tournament. After this game, there's 3 games left before we decide the 2 finalists. And after game 28, those 2 finalists will then go on to play, I believe, a best of 5 final, the top 2, to determine the winner. So yeah, this today is hugely important. And yeah, this game in particular could, for both of them is necessary or would be super helpful in keeping their chances alive and being one of those 2 finalists, especially for Joey.
Kevin and Joey, both very strong players, and neither one has won a national championship before. Jackson has won World Cup twice, but never the SPC, or the NASC, as this was called until its name was changed. Josh Sokol has also never won a major championship, as far as I know. So likely, unless Jackson winning this thing, we'll have a new winner, as Mac Miller, Will Anderson, and several other of the usual suspects are more or less out of contention at this time. With both of these players, I can expect to see them grooming their racks. Both of these guys very good at keeping great combinations of letters on their rack. Sometimes they'll bypass points now to get more points in the future. But both of these guys great at keeping good combinations of letters and have good word knowledge of the bingos to drop the 7 and 8 point letters down. So Joey to play first, drawing his first rack, and he has pulled into EHIINNR. So I think we'll likely see Joey play HIN or perhaps HINNIE, a 6-letter word here. HINNIE would be slightly uncharacteristic for Joey, as I know, as I mentioned, he's great at keeping good combinations of letters, EINR, on his rack. So I think some other players, Jackson Smiley perhaps, would play the longer word here, but Joey I expect to see play the short word and go for a broke next turn trying to bingo.
Yeah, I expect to see Hin come down, like you said, Joey Mallick geared towards grooming his rack and building towards a bingo. And yeah, he does just that, and which will give back a nice play of Woeful to Kevin underneath, making HOIF and NU. And that'll the W, U, and F. A lot of these really clunky tiles and like a pretty disgusting opening rack. That's about as best he can hope for, or even with win.
Yeah, Woeful playing in both spots. This spot 2 more points, but a little more aggressive. And after Joey has just played HIN, and more or less suspect an E on his rack for the wine back hook, I would not have made this play if I were Kevin. I would have played the other spot, and he's now going to get hit back with a bingo of in nerve hooking wine next turn.
Yeah, I also if I had seen the other spot, I think I still would have played underneath as well. Just limit the options for my opponent as much as possible after such a suspicious, fishy-looking opening play.
Yeah, so if I were Kevin, I would have played that turn separately. I think Chloe in agreement here, and we're going to see him get hit back with a big 81-point bingo because of that decision. Scoring 2 more points now, but opening up a lot more opportunities for your opponent. And now Kevin down substantially already, drawing into the nasty WG. But a really nice pull, WG, but an N and an I to give him ING, an A and an E as well. And I can't see that seventh pile.
Another
Oh,
I.
another
So
I. Okay,
not
could have
quite
been
what
really
you would have
awesome.
wanted, but yeah, he's definitely on his way to getting out of that bad rack that he drew initially.
So Kevin going to have an interesting decision here. He has the high-scoring WINE to the left side of Woeful, 30 points, but AIG, not a compelling leave. Wailing, WAILING, plays through the L for 24. And then he's got other options giving him more bingo-prone leaves, such as Wig and EW alongside Enerve, holding the volatile but bingo-prone AEIN. Way in the same spot, WAE, holding GIIN, or he can go for broke and keep maybe his best leave on this rack, EGIN, and score just 14 points with a play like Whale or Wali, WALI, through the L and Woeful. Again, what I've seen from these players, I expect either Wig or Whale/Wally to come down, as they both show that they're trying to bingo as often as possible. But I'm not sure. Kevin might surprise me with a play like Wine. It is 30 points, hard to bypass 30. What do you think, Chloe?
Yeah, I don't know. I think 30 is a lot. I have a hard time imagining keeping an AGI leave. So something in the middle, between those two ends of either Wally or Whale for 14 or Wine for 30. So I don't mind Wig. Yes, it's a volatile leave. I think it would be better if there were some more consonants to play through on this board, but just sort of in the theme of scoring some points, but maybe not at the expense of keeping a really bad leave. Also worth noting that Joey has quailed as a double-double available. I believe that's a word.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
but I
Wow.
think it'll probably get blocked.
Yeah, nearly every reasonable play will block it. But Joey,
Yeah,
wow, that's a very high scoring double double. For those of
yeah.
you newer, a double double, a play that hits two double word scores. So you double the score, then double it again. And with the Q in that, the 10-point Q, you double it and double it again. That tile alone netting you 40 points.
Actually, Whale, which he has set up, will not block it, and it'll score way more. It'll score WAIL, making QI going both ways.
Oh, wow. If Kevin does play Whale, wow. I
That would be
think,
insane. He's gonna play
okay,
Wig though, which
yeah,
seems
that's what I
reasonable to
thought.
me. I
That's
think
what I
I would do,
thought.
yeah, even Wally over Whale made more sense to me. So it seemed unlikely, but would have been insane.
So Kevin going for broke, AEIN. Again, this can backfire often with two vowels on your pull, but can bingo a ton as well. A big pull for Kevin, as a Wig does give back a huge play for Joey of QADI to the I in Wig, scoring 36 points and holding the wonderful DEIL synergistic combination. If Joey doesn't spot that or doesn't like giving back potential Q plays, he can also play Cade and ID alongside Enerve. But I really like this play of Kadi, QADI. You're holding DI, and if you pick up a U or an A, you're going to hit Cade or Quid in that same
I don't
spot.
know. Setting up that S hook seems a bit crazy to me, especially after Wig, which to me might signal an S potentially.
Yeah, that is a big S hook.
And
Okay.
it would have gotten hit. It would have gotten hit for a million with Marines.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Okay, I didn't notice that S hook, but you're right. Cade, I think in this spot is a better play. You don't set yourself up if you set your opponent up even better. Yep, good point, Chloe. That's why I've got you on the stream to keep me honest. So Kevin has Marines. It won't score a gazillion after Kadi, but it'll still score 80. He also has the neat bingo of Rainsman through the N in Enerve, Reinsman, hooking Cade to make Cades for 77. Both of those rather reasonable bingos for Kevin to make. But I think probably Marines for 80 is a straightforward play that he'll make.
Yeah, seems like the way to go. Yeah, I don't see really why you would do Rainsman instead. Yeah, it was just the draw Kevin needed after keeping that volatile AEIN leave, and looks like he's going with Marines. Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, so Marines gets Kevin back on the board, a clutch 3-consonant draw into AEIN, and he'll bingo for 80 to jump ahead 133 to 127. as Joey to respond with a rack of three E's, DEEEHLR. And Marines gives back a really cool play, Obscure 5 HEDER, plays with 5 overlaps,
And
AHREID,
looks like he sees it.
and viewer. So that is 40 points, far and away the best option for Joey.
Yeah. I think he sees it too.
Yeah. I mean, maybe thinking about, is re-healed a word through the A? Are there any other 8s? But there aren't. That is not valid. And Joey would at least know the 7 re-heals, which is not valid. So take a little bit of time. But once you see this play of HEDER, it's so good. You've got to play it. And I think Joey just about to pull the trigger on it as well.
And Kevin picking up both blanks and an X. It's a pretty crazy draw right there. So he should be set for the next couple turns, even if he doesn't bingo this turn.
All right, so well spotted by Joey, HEDER. And yeah, Kevin with a very interesting rack. He's now pulled no vowels in his last 7, or in his last 10 tiles pulled, and yet he's got to be A-okay with that. As DXSTT blank blank, you can cash 1 blank now with a play like DEX blank E alongside Woeful holding SST blank. Score 45 and hold SST blank is awesome. Or you can go all out and play NEXT, holding both blanks and opening a triple opportunity.
Ooh, I kind of love that idea. Maybe it's a bit crazy. It probably gets taken most of the time, but why not?
Most of the time, but still, if it's open enough of the time with all that material on my rack, I love this idea.
Yeah, and looking at Joey's rack right now, I don't see an obvious play off the bat that would block that. Great.
Yeah. And I mean, so often I think Joey forced to play alongside Cade if he's got an eye and a good overlap, down the spot alongside Cade, or if he's got a bingo pluralizing wig, like maybe the spot stays open. You score 27 now, you're certain to bingo next turn. Why not? I really like this idea, but Kevin got to decide, do I do something bonkers? Do I play a blank in a non-bingo for 45 with Dex? Or do I play next? I really want next to come down. Ooh.
Yeah, that would be fun. I think, yeah, you got to do that. You got to take the chance. Given it's not an 100% chance with this Cade parallel hotspot, it just seems like why not go for it? And there's still other spots to bingo on the board, which he's basically guaranteed to do. And the T isn't so dangerous for scoring plays. It's not the best. It's often that Joey will get 30, 40 points there, but even so, you're still scoring well with the X and keeping both blanks.
Yeah, one other option, just plunk a T for 5 NET. NET taking both a back T and a back S. I think that's crazy with 4 T's and 2 S's in the bag, but if you want to set yourself up, you can do that. I think we might see a very boring play of something like Tux through the U and Woeful, though. Just 20 points, hold both the blanks, bingo for sure next turn. But Kevin, I think, giving a lot of thought to D blank X as well for 45.
Yeah, would you do Dex or Tix there, do you think?
Good question. Dex 45, STT blank, Tix 42, DST blank. I think because I'm trying to bingo, I might play Dex, open up those hooks, but then I also know if I'm going to bingo next turn, then maybe I want this board shut down already and play Tix. I don't know. I would have played next, though.
Yeah, I would have played next also. I think just a fun option. Usually plays like that you can just discard because they're so obviously going to get blocked. But in this case, it wasn't so clear. And I think taking that chance, there's a chance it would have paid off here.
Yeah, but alas, we're not going to get our content play. And Joey now to respond, both B's and a K on his rack. He'll have likely the opportunity to play some neat 5s here. Kebab, or Babka. So Babka or Kabab, anagrams of each other play through the A and Cade. The very aggressive play is Kebab alongside Heater, making AHA and REB. But that opens up an enormous hotspot. And if your opponent plays a blank for 45, I think there's a good chance they've got the other one. You can't make
Mhm.
that play here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think kebab or bob. I think kebab or babka seem fine. That's what I was looking at before. Um, what else could you do?
PAK plays along decks, making a do and
Mm,
KEF.
yeah, I don't love that at all. I don't know why you would keep both B's. I guess if you don't want to make such a potent spot for the S, then maybe. But it just seems like you're giving up some points and leave there.
The advantage to playing PAK is the BBEL leave allows you to fish for the word Scrabble through the A and Cade. And I don't know if you knew this at home, but if you play the word Scrabble in Scrabble, you automatically win the game. That is a lie. That is not true. Not
I was confused for a second, I have to say. I was not.
It's the Scrabble equivalent of Exodia Obliterate for those of you who play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, and I was wondering, are there other bingos for Kevin other than Fist Note? Because that's the only thing that pops out to me initially.
Oh my
Um,
goodness, is he going to be forced to play Fish Note or
but
pass a bingo?
there might be other things. What else
No.
is? No,
Oh,
wow.
no. Oh my
I
goodness.
think you gotta just play Reft then. You can't, right?
Content, man. I don't know.
Two S's out. Yeah, content. But at
Yeah.
this stage in the tournament, seems bold, if
So
nothing else.
Fist Note, of course, Kevin's bingo would play through the I in wine, ending one space short of a triple word square. So the player who draws an S first will be able to absolutely pulverize that spot for a bunch. Joey doing something that looks very non-standard here. Bleak for
Mhm.
25 points. I really prefer Kebab or Babka, even if you infer your opponent has consonants and a blank. I don't know. This play just sacrifices so much. BP is such an awful anti-synergistic leave.
But
I
he
would
does
rather play
that,
Kebab.
so that if Fist Note comes down, that'll be huge.
Oh boy, oh boy, yeah. Picking up the the S and the Z to hit it zaps would be more points than Fist Note would be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Kevin, I think has to play Reft REFT.
Yeah.
Could consider font and fewer font setting up his S, but also setting up Joey's S. Two S's unseen to Kevin, but
Yeah.
font to play that may work out. Just so easy to stack though.
Yeah, exactly. Those parallels are just going to score so much. And seeing Bleak, you can't read a ton into that. But yeah, I think Reft is the right play. Just scoring, enough points, hopefully guaranteeing a bingo next turn, and then, yeah, not giving back so much volatility.
Yeah, I agree with that play for sure from Kevin. Tough turn, but I think correctly foregoing the bingo there. Now we've seen two players forego bingos in the last
Mhm.
two games.
Yeah.
All right, Joey's turn now. ABOPSUZ won't be able to cash in that S beyond fist notes, but he does have opportunities. He has Squab, SQUAB, through the Q in Cade. A good way to set up the Z for ZA plays, though he doesn't have an A, and he'll need to draw one to play on top. An A pull would give Zap after Squab if the spot stays available, though.
Yeah, and given Kevin's last plays, you basically know he has a blank. So you're probably not expecting him to hit that spot. And at this point, yeah, he's clearly building towards a bingo. So it often will stay open for you.
Yeah, Squab is an awesome play for Joey, independent of equity because of the setup. It's one you have to make here. Other candidate plays, according to Quackle, are AZO alongside Wig for 35, stringing an O and a triple triple after your opponent almost certainly holding an S. You don't want to do that. Or if you want to play defense, you could try playing Upon, UPON to the N in Enerve, obstructing the HI and N and win. But with the T floating after Reft, with the Wigs hook available as well, you don't need to close that line. Squab clearing away Joey's best choice here. He's thinking, but you've got to make that play, and I think he's just about to.
Yeah. And I imagine after this, Kevin will play something like Toastone, um, making ES on top of Squab, unless there's a higher scoring bingo that I'm not seeing.
No, Tostone likely to play. It either plays on top with ES, or he could take out the Whigs hook right
Mm.
now, but that'll open two separate triples with the third already exposed. So I think Tostone on the top of the board forming ES for 72 points is his best option here.
Yeah, and Joey missing the A's, so he will not get to cash that zap play that he was probably hoping for.
Youch. Ouch. So Kevin's bingo will put him up ahead by about 40, 45 points, but Joey with some material to respond, although I'm sure he would have loved to draw that A for zap and smack right back. I expect Kevin to take his time and really think through these bingos. If he feels like he's at a big advantage after this bingo, he could consider playing something like cottons and wigs.
Mhm.
Putting that C out there tightens this board quite a bit. And depending on what he draws next, he could close this board down tightly with the play on top of squab next turn. But I don't think he's going to be ahead by enough to justify foregoing points and shutting this board down. Cotton's also opening up a big spot for him to play, or for Joey to respond through the T on that triple word square underneath, with the J and the Z both still in the bag. So Tostone, I think on top needs to be the play here. Again, Kevin, take your time, use that blank, make sure you're not missing any better bingos, and eventually I think we'll put down Tostone.
Maybe cottons. Yeah, I wonder if there's any way you can read a Z from squab. Probably not, but it could. In some worlds, it keeps Z or ZA, like in this one. But yeah, probably not an inference worth making, because in that case, you don't want to do something like cottons, which can often give back big plays through the T, like you said.
Yeah, I think Z is a little bit more likely than average after Squab, but there are so many just Val heavy racks that don't have points to score elsewhere. This board is tight and scoring opportunities are few and far between, so Squab is just the right play out of many racks.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to look ahead to Joey's turn. Bozo plays from the B, holding PPRS. The S very powerful now as that Wigs spot, one of the only big spots left on this board. But double Ps, I don't know if that's what you want to keep.
Right, yeah, there's just not a great way to get rid of a Z and a P here. I guess you could use Zap, but you might just play you might just hold on to the Z again if you think there's potential for it, which there is. The E in Bleak you could hit with a Z with lots of tiles, or still that squab spot. But yeah, I don't even see a great spot for those Ps. So I guess like hope, but yeah.
Kevin finally arranging his letters to spell out Tostone. Yep, we think he's going to play this, and here it comes, Tostone on top. So this bingo will put Kevin ahead 271 to 228. Though Joey's sitting on some good material, able to respond. I'd love to see Joey play Pope, I think, here. Pope to the E in Bleak. Open the board back up a little bit, but really sneakily hold on to that Z. Without holding a P, you'll need an A to play Zaz, which is not as enticing. Maybe you want to play Rope instead, or Pour in the same spot. But I love the idea of holding onto the Z one more turn, faking like you're trying to open a bingo line, but really fishing for a similar bingo score with a play like Zap.
Yeah, it's interesting. It looks like he might be thinking of Zap right now. Yeah, I think Pour or Rope might be just a bit too much of a sacrifice over some of these higher scoring plays, but I could see it. I think Pope makes sense. Um, yeah, I might go for that. I think Pope. Yeah, I like that. And also keeps Zoo, if nothing else, for 32.
Ooze also an option to the E. So Joey can decide Ooze 39, Bozo 35. Do I want to open or close if I'm going to play off ZOO right now? But yeah, lots of options here, and I don't know which one Joey's going to pull the trigger on. I'm not familiar enough with his game. But man, that opportunity to fish for a Zap or Zaz play on top, very enticing, but also 39 right now. drawing into a pool with a bunch of A's and E's. APPR or PPRS looks like a good leave. Joey instead playing Zap here, ZAP, setting up Z plays with an A that he doesn't have. Not sure how I feel about this play at all.
Yeah, I don't love it. I think if you're gonna do that, you might as well just go all the way with ooze if you're gonna get rid of the Z. Just for the difference in, yeah, it's the point difference alone. Um, and yeah, with A's, with a bunch of A's out and not having any of them, I would expect it's pretty likely for Kevin to have one. He obviously doesn't in this case, so Joey will catch a break there. But yeah, I think you either got to hold on to the Z and wait for one of these really good options because you still have some decent plays like Pope otherwise, or just take all the points with ooze.
Yeah, with 5 unseen A's, I think that's a reckless play, overly aggressive, and OOPRS is a rather poor leave, pun intended. But likely, despite the fact that Joey's not going to get burned and the fact that he picked up an A on his 2-tile draw, I'm not sure he'll get to cash it in as Boogie plays down from the B for Kevin. It's a great way to clear up this rack, score 23 points, hold DOR. So I think that's what we can expect to see here. It looks like he set up Boody instead, Boody, but you got to get rid of the G here. Here it comes.
Yeah, he's fixing it now. Definitely better to get rid of the G than the D here. So yeah, I like that play.
So Joey dodging a bullet, but then Kevin also unable to respond, and then will dodge a bullet of his own. I really don't like that play of Zap, though. That's one that's, I think, rather sloppy for a player of Joey's caliber.
Boogie still gives back Asp, which keeps a bad leave, but scores, I think, 39, making squabs and pop.
It also gives back soy here, which is a little bit strange. You don't actually hit the triple word, but that scores even better. 41.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, totally the play, I think.
Or perhaps Joey bypasses those and plays Po' Boy, an awesome 5 through the B oblique.
Yeah,
So
some good options here.
Kevin making the definite right play here of Boogie, best play in a vacuum, but also especially the best play given Joey has a Z. And Zap honestly looks like a Z setup. Well, no, it can't be a Z setup.
Yeah, it can't.
You just play Zap on top. So I don't know. Curious play. Joey, I don't know what that was. I don't like that play by Joey, but it's not going to work out for either one of these players. I'll stop talking about it now because I'll get angry, but I digress. Joey to respond. Soy for 41 points will actually give Joey a 3-point lead. Despite getting double blanked, he can catch back up. Po' Boy, 26 points through the B, holding ARS, also a great option for him.
Looks like he's thinking Spy, which will score 4 more, but I think getting rid of one of those O's is pretty crucial. Just the P helps the leave so much.
Is there any way Joey can play off AOOR somewhere and fish for SPY, ESPY?
I was thinking about that option. Let's see. He could play.
I mean, you can play off 3 of those 4.
Yeah, ROO or something.
Yeah, ROO would be awesome. 6 E's in the bag, and SPY would score 72 points.
Wow.
So, yeah, fishing for a bingo. And I don't think that squab spot goes away. Joey holding the last S in the game. So if Joey spots this opportunity and realizes with that last S, that spot likely his to take, man, playing off ROO or 3 of those 4 tiles in AROO would be such a solid option. SPY 72 points, but Soy right now 41 points. Not bad at all either.
Yeah, what's the best way to fish those off? Just ROO under Tostoni, or is there something higher scoring? Because that feels like an awfully large sacrifice.
I mean, ROO, the best place to score is next to Boogie, ORGO and YO, but of course, that's not your play. So I think what you need to do is open up another spot for Kevin to play. So SPY certainly stays available. You'd hate to get hit by a play like HIE or DIE alongside
He's
Boogie.
going for Po' Boy, though, which
boring.
with Joey makes sense, but yeah, boring. I would have liked either Soy or Rue here.
I think a possible squandered opportunity. He will retain that S, but I don't know, just rather unoriginal play, very standard ARS and awesome leave. But I'd like to see some more creativity in that situation,
Mhm.
man, to put just an absolute dagger in this game.
Yeah. And obviously the S super powerful here with that wig spot not going anywhere, and there only being one other in the bag. It might not feel great to get rid of it, but if you're going for a play like SB, which will score as much as a bingo, um, yeah, not necessarily worth building so much towards a bingo in this turn.
So I think a missed opportunity there for a very bland play instead. And that Joey down 12 points after that play, and it's Kevin's turn. He does have the S. He can bingo with wigs and get back into this game, and the wig spot unlikely to be blocked anytime soon, as Joey has the last S and nothing else can really be done to address that spot. But now Joey forced to try to draw a bingo before this game ends, when
Mhm.
SI with 6 unseen E's is so likely to be drawn. Alas, here's where we are. Let's get the unseen pool on display, as it's rather interesting.
Mm. Yeah, so from Kevin's perspective, you definitely want to draw one of those S's. I might just play Do It, DOIT, on top of Po Boy scoring 19, I think.
Yeah,
Or 21.
IRT with
21.
6 unseen E's, 5 unseen A's is a very balanced, strong leave. There are a few bingo lines bingoing using the P in Po Boy, using the T in Reft, but without an S, it'll be tough. Not impossible, but tough to slap bingos on this board. Even some possibility for overlaps under Dostone, though they'd have to be good fits. I think a play like DOIT, 21 points, totally reasonable, and that's what we're going to see here.
Yeah.
IRT, a good leave. Kevin likely to pick up A's and E's. We'll see what his draw is.
Yeah. Sometimes there's no fancy option and you just take the equity. Yeah, I like it.
So Joey now needs to do what he can to make sure the wig spot stays available. I don't think Kevin will be able to block it easily, but you also don't want to set up other bingo lines. Joey's plan to win this game now down quite a bit. He needs to bingo. He needs to make sure Kevin doesn't. So a play like Cure to the E sets up another big bingo line. Cure to the E and Bleak. C is the second most common letter to begin a word with. Only S begins more words than the letter C. So some players don't like the letter C. It's defensive. It doesn't make twos. It's hard to stack with, but an amazing tile for bingoing, especially at the beginning of a word. And a play like Cure in a situation where Joey just needs to bingo, stop Kevin from bingoing, and win the game is a dicey play, especially looking at this pool. So many A's, E's, I's, R's, T's, and L's available. I don't know that you want to give the floating C away to your opponent.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely risky. I don't see any amazing options, but just something in another area of the board making a do or something like that.
The
Or
play of Nug and Newer for Joey is actually quite good
Hmm.
here. It takes away the wig spot, but Nug also taking a back S, and you think, well, what if he overlaps and hits the triple? He can't. There are 4 A's. Oh no, there's an M. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. M is
Yeah.
unseen, so he could potentially have something, and he actually does have the M and the A to hit back. So never mind. I'll stop here. Rather unoriginal, but very straightforward coming down for Joey. AGNS pulling into lots of E's, but also lots of A's. See what he
Mhm.
draws. As Kevin sitting on the unplayable bingo Myriate also has a decision to make. Do I
Yeah.
fish? Do I open the board? Do I keep things tight? Or do I score 32 and play Euremia underneath Tostones right
Mm.
now?
Yeah. I wonder at what point do you start getting very worried about Joey having an S and try to block Wig somehow? It doesn't seem totally justified yet. I don't think Cure screams fish. Though obviously we can see that Joey drew castling and lasting, so he will be bingoing next turn. Because he has bingos in different spots. Um, but yeah, maybe if that C was not floated last turn, I might be start thinking about possibly blocking wigs. But now that there's multiple good spots on the board to bingo, it seems less reasonable.
If Joey doesn't pull a bingo from the C, though, if he's forced to play something like lasting, that gives Kevin so many opportunities to bingo back and catch up into the game. That's why I don't like opening the board in this situation. I would have preferred to keep things tight, sit on the last S, and just wait, hit that spot when I'm ready, and coast to a victory. But now Joey opening himself up, though he's drawn well enough to bail himself out, again, drawing a bingo from the C, and I don't expect to see Kevin block that bingo either.
Yeah, also worth noting, Noah Kalis mentioned to me that apterium was blocked by cure. Kevin would have had that.
Wow.
So I missed that word. That would have, yeah, totally changed things. So cure ended up working out really well for Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if Joey plays Uremia and if Kevin plays Uremia and Joey has a bad post bingo draw, it's still possible he could outrun.
Yeah, how much did you say Uremia was?
32. So that put him
32.
up 47, castling to score about 80. But if Joey picks up a ton of A's and E's after that bingo, or a bunch of garbage, GVLLC in the bag, cashing in the J, a play like Raj on top of Do It, might be enough to do it for him. I'm so sorry. I'm not really that sorry.
Yeah, where is he looking at Amu? Amu and Udo?
Wow.
Huh. I just don't see a great spot for that. And I don't know. Or Mott. Mott is the same spot, I guess. So yeah, he's just looking at overlapping Do It, and he will play Mott. I guess with the open T in Reft and the C, you don't necessarily need an S to bingo anymore. So he might just want to sort of balance that leave points thing that we talked about. But yeah, I think the points of Uremia maybe just make it worth it.
And if you're going to make this play, I think you got to play Amu instead of Mott. There are 11 vowels and 10 consonants in the bag. You need to keep that T. Now Kevin likely in vowel trouble, and Joey wasting no time to drop castling. 2 words there, castling and catlings, but you don't want to float the S out there. So castling definitely the correct bingo. And Kevin's going to need an awesome draw here, probably bingoing from the T or the G, or maybe underlapping Dostone to have a shot to win this game. What will he pull? A, L,
Looks good so far.
R, and
Trailer.
A.
So he
Wow.
is arterial, but that's not exactly the T bingo he wanted. But still
Arterial
something.
for 64 puts Kevin up 401 to 386, drawing 3 tiles out of the bag, and Joey
Wow.
picking up a bunch of junk, C, E, 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 I, J, V. When
Yeah.
Arterial comes down, that means
Wow.
Kevin to pull A, E, E out of the bag.
Wow.
Kevin
And so that if Joey plays Jive, which seems like the natural play, that gives back a G for a ton of points, probably enough for Kevin to win in that sequence.
Yeah. So we'd get into a neat in-game situation if Arterial comes down. Kevin, if he plays Arterial to win, if he pulls pretty much any out sequence, but we know at home, AEE in the bag, and he's not going to be able to go out in 1 unless he's set up to do so.
Yeah. So yeah, I wonder how often you draw 3 tiles out of that pool that go out. Probably not too often, given all those vowels.
Yeah, I mean, 3 vowels almost certain not to go out, but 2 vowels and any one of those consonants probably will, unless you get like JEI. But ICE, ACE, IEV, most of the time, if you pick up one consonant and you don't get JIE, you'll probably threaten outplays.
Mm-hmm.
So Joey will have a winnable end game, but it will be a tough winnable end game as his best moves are actually to avoid playing the J for 1 turn. He'll have
Oh, wow.
2 wins after Arterial comes down, and 1 tie as well.
Wow. That is not easy to think. You wouldn't think to avoid playing the J. It looks like Kevin's thinking of fishing, though, potentially, and not bingoing. I don't know if he hasn't seen Arterial. or if he thinks that it just doesn't win enough. I don't know. I feel like you
So,
kind of got to take the bingo here. The pool is not looking good, especially keeping a vowel heavy leave.
yeah, if you play AI and AG in that
Mm,
unseen pool, there are no hooks. So you're holding
that is
on to
clever.
R and L. Maybe you feel you need to bingo out to win this game. AI pulls into earlier sometimes, clearer sometimes, raveler sometimes, but I think you just got to bingo here. I wonder if Kevin hasn't spotted arterial yet. And on stream, under time pressure, after a long grind of a tournament, it's easy to whiff stuff, but that is a very high probability bingo for Kevin. And he's a bingo machine, as he's been called in chat numerous times. Shocking miss if he doesn't play it there.
Wow. So he's going to go with rag, um, which, let's see, he can't even draw into a bingo now, I don't think. And that will just lock it up for Joey.
Wow, you can't play a consonant there. You can't play a
No,
consonant
can't.
there.
Damn. Um, yeah, brutal. Yeah, I imagine he missed it. He didn't even set the word up on his rack at any point, and you at least have to be considering that in more depth, I think.
So
Looked
Joey
like he
looking
was
at
really just oh, sorry. Yeah, now he'll play jive.
Joey
Um,
looking at the unseen pool, AAEEEILR. He has to see there are no playable bingos for Kevin out of that situation.
yeah, it's true. Someone in chat mentioning that usually if you look at that T, you're thinking of words that start with T, and it's not natural to think maybe there's one that would fit that doesn't start with T in this spot. But yeah, just yeah, it's a big blow for Kevin.
Yeah, I don't know. You can't play a consonant there. You can't play
Yeah.
a consonant there. AI, if you're going to miss or bypass the bingo, AI and AG clearly to me the move.
Yeah, totally. I agree for sure. Just you got yeah, if you notice that there's no real good way for Joey to block that spot, um, and you're so likely to draw into things like earlier, that yeah, you just got to make more of a realistic option for yourself because it's not too often that you're drawing a consonant.
I mean, again, it's a hard, long grind in these tournaments, and Kevin low on time as well. It's tough to think all these things through, but was arterial a miss or was it a tactical bypass? I definitely think a squandered opportunity here for Kevin. Many mistakes, I think, over these last few plays, but Joey Mallick is going to end up picking up a huge win, knocking
Yeah,
Kevin one game further down. And I think the biggest consequence of this is with Kevin's loss, Josh Sokol has
that's right.
clinched a spot in the finals. So
Yeah.
now it is a one-man race for the second spot as Kevin, Joey, Jackson, and a number of other players all trying to get that second spot. I'd love to see if Jackson has won his last game because if he lost again, this is a wide open race.
Yeah, and yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this one plays out. It's exciting to have this final setup where it's after 28 games is what counts. Yeah, and it makes it not just a question of who is in first, but that the top two people, and then from then on, they have an equal shot of, winning that best of five final.
Josh's result is in. He's defeated Carl Johnson, and that'll put Josh up to a ridiculous 21-4. Again, it
Insane.
doesn't matter how much you blow out the field. The top two players, independent of record, play a best of five for the championship.
Yeah,
So it's
that'll be tough. I'm sure he'll look up arterial rack. He might have even spotted it. He does not look happy with himself or with this situation at the moment. Yeah, and that is not a nice thing to realize.
Yeah, so that'll be the end of this game and the end of our morning session on day 4 of the Scrabble Players Championship. We'll have 3 more games this afternoon. The plan is to show NWL for as long as there are stakes on the NWL division. There is certainly a possibility that Jackson and Josh will be double Gibsonized. In fact, if Jackson wins this round, he will be 3 games up on I'm a couple rounds behind. If Jackson wins 2 more games, he'll lock it away, I believe. So if Jackson wins his next game and 1 game in the afternoon session, we may be looking at a double Gibsonization. And we would either switch to Collins or Division 2, or perhaps just an NWL matchup in Division 1 for third. I don't want to make a promise one way or the other, but we'll figure out what we're going to do when we get there. And we'll keep everybody posted. For now, though, Joey Mallick with a huge victory and Kevin with a crushing loss. A victory here may have catapulted him into second place, but this loss is going to give him an uphill climb to beat Jackson Smiley for that second spot in the playoff. Joey Mallick keeping himself alive. Kevin Fraley still very much in this tournament, but somebody's going to have to beat Jackson several times this afternoon to get there.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see how it all plays out. Yeah, I can't wait.
Both of these players are super soft-spoken. I'm not sure what we'll pick up on the mic, but let's see if we can hear some post-game banter.
Being on stream has not been good for no one. One of three.
Yeah, I've won the most somehow.
I don't know. It's like, well, I had an unplayable 7. I didn't see any spot.
Did you have both blanks there?
I didn't have I figured there's no sense in me playing T or X or 20.
Right.
Keep the 2.
All right, with that, I think we're not going to hear any more post-game banter. As Joey bringing the result slip up, a crushing loss for Kevin, and you can see the emotion on his face, the sadness, the devastation. But Kevin's still alive in this tournament. He has to avoid getting in his own head, come back from lunch, and do his very best to try to win his next 3 games and make it to that final. We're going to cut away to our lunch break for now. We will be back in an hour and 50 minutes. That's 6 o'clock Eastern time, 3 o'clock Pacific time. And if you're in another time zone, I trust you to figure it out. I'm signing off for right now. I'd like to give a thank you to Chloe for stepping in and doing commentary for our morning session on a late notice. So thank you, Chloe. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Matt. It's been really fun. And I'm excited to watch this afternoon's if I can get away from work for a bit.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. This afternoon, the plan is for me to be joined by Morris Greenberg, and if he has some internet connectivity issues, we may have a surprise guest for you instead. But we will be back in an hour and 50 minutes. Set your clocks. We will see y'all soon. Get up, stretch your legs, use the bathroom, eat some food, and join us in an hour and 50 minutes for 3 more games of Scrabble. Signing off for now, Matt Canik, Chloe Fatsis. We will see y'all again soon.